Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free. I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM making cheese like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, yeah, we gonna take offense.
Welcome back, everybody. This is season 1, episode 17. Cock Riser, the show. I'm Jamie Jones.
I'm Monique Jones.
And if you haven't listened, this is how we do it. We get on and talk about the things that we thought about over the last week, depending on what happens. And we'll see how it goes as we do anytime. Next week, though, we have a special episode because we had a bunch of people joining us next week. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, we took a break last week because we were out of the studio. And it's such a big production, it's hard to bring on the road like we have before when we were out of the country. And we were out of the country again. I decided just to take a break. And we are back. So we really have like 2 weeks of things to talk about, actually. But I don't know. It depends on what gets brought up. What I do know is it's interesting because I've lived in Philly before. And Philly is doing something interesting now. Philly has many reputations, and it's often been not called the safest city in the world, but it is. It's not the safest city in the world, but it's a safe city. But every city has its issues. But now, to get the charges dropped in the juvenile diversion program, guess what they're making there, or you have to agree to do it, of course. Guess what they're letting the juveniles who commit crimes, of course, depends on the crime, what they're allowing them to do?
I don't know. Let us know.
Run a half marathon. If they run a half,
If they run a half a marathon.
If they run a half of marathon, they will complete the program by running 13.1 miles of the Philadelphia half marathon. So they get their
What is that? If they steal like a
charges
piece of candy or
they get expungement, miles for expungement. So while students run the Philly style, it's called While Students Run Philly Style has been operating a more general running and mentorship program for students since the early 2000s. Mile Up is relatively new. It's called Mile Up. And it began as a pilot in 2020. And they run with the 128 students that are currently in there. It's a very interesting program. I mean, that's somewhat rehabilitative, which incarceration should be, giving kids a second chance. So it has 3 cohorts. So you can run in the fall and the spring where students meet, practice 3 times a week for 12 weeks with the Students Run Philly Style staff. And they have to run a 5K in the all-city 10-miler and then the half marathon. So they really got to do 2 races. So they build up to it.
So what they're doing is they're trying to teach them a better way of maybe creating this community for these children to be a part of so that they can just look at life a little bit different. That's what I'm like. I don't see anything wrong with it.
If it works, it works. They earn restitution of any fees that they incurred for their crimes after they run the first race, the 5K. Because that can often be a financial burden, of course. And then the second, the charges get dropped as long as they ultimately complete the program. So they got to run. They got to do both.
But I'm sure there's some mentoring going on and some things that they probably never had in their life. And I'm not saying for all the children, but, for the kids that are getting in trouble, usually stray off to gangs or, other people that are influencing them to do things that they, testing their abilities to see if they can get caught or not. So I think that there is, but I'm just saying, I think it's like, it's a community that they're teaching them, somebody that, you have all these kids putting them in a category to say, you know what, you guys are doing this together to accomplish this goal and teach. I think it's a great thing. I just hope that it works.
It's exactly what you said. They give an example of a kid named Nashawn who came back from a family trip. And there was a warrant for his arrest stemming from years ago incident. So he got into the program, was focused on the half marathon, keep a steady pace without starting too fast, as they say. But he mentioned that he appreciated how, of course, his future remains wide open because that gets expunged. That
Yeah.
doesn't, that it never goes on the record, but he valued the support he had gotten from adults. And he said he'd missed the group and the program ends. Now that's the thing. Because,
Exactly.
but see, they got to do something for the follow up because if you get there and then you got all the
Yeah.
support and then you get done
Yeah.
running a race and the sport leaves, you
Absolutely.
got to stay in contact with those people or you go right back to it. So it's
It's
interesting
like a
because in a
team.
microcosm, well, yeah, but in a microcosm of that is it's good to get rehabilitated, but then there has to be that follow up program. There's got to be that support system. If you didn't have it before, are you going to have that
But you know
later?
what, though? I think that if you really think about it, so you have these adults that are, mentoring you. And I'm sure it's like a basketball team or a football team. You still can reach out to that coach and say, you know what, can we have a lunch or, I need some guidance. I feel like I'm slipping away. And I'm not saying that these kids know how to reach out, but I do hope that the adults are reaching out to these kids and checking in on them and seeing if they, need the support that they once had in the program to keep them from getting in trouble again. But yeah, and I think that that's a great program. I'm excited to hear more about it, to be honest.
Well, let me
Hmm.
tell you who's not getting support any longer. Who's not getting support because the big bill that came through because there's no more government shutdown. We were gone. The government shutdown ended. Longest government shutdown ever, 43 days. And that
Hmm.
bill that went past, because when they write these bills, they always talk about the pork in them and the fat in them. These bills are hundreds and hundreds of pages long, and they throw all this stuff in. So it's kind of like you're negotiating on all this stuff, and stuff gets by because you kind of like you throw shit on, and then you go, "Oh, this is not worth dying on this hill." Well, I think some people may be surprised because it's funny. We've had this conversation a long time ago because your sister is a nurse. I
Practitioner.
think she's the highest nurse the highest nurse that she can be. I'm going to
Yes.
use this word because we talked about professionals,
Hmm.
right? So this new bill has a full list of degrees that are no longer classified as professional by the Trump administration. And I think it's because they're trying to cut down on the money available to these professions. And there's a fear that people may not enter. But this is part of the list of degrees that are not classified as professional anymore. And if I were one of them, I might be a little bit pissed right now. Nursing, physician
Wow.
assistant, physical therapist, audiologist, architects, accountants, educators, and social workers. And
That's crazy.
so all of them will no longer be considered by the government as professionals. And you would be like, all right, in late, just walking around, somebody said that, they'd be like, hey, the government, what does it matter? Well, where it matters in this big, beautiful bill is that you get concerned. Well, people not go towards that because it's not
Yes.
considered to be a profession. So those things
Profession.
are going to be considered to be trade.
Okay.
Um, and the problem is you get different services and different loans from the government and different financial assistance depending on what your classification is.
Wow, that's
So,
crazy.
and what the government is trying to do is limit the exposure to those loans that will not get repaid because of the
Hmm.
cost that is incurred to get to those degrees. But the problem is now they're trying to say the good thing is it will prevent people from taking an unreasonable amount of debt for their salaries so they can expect to receive employment. But on the back end of that, we already have a nursing shortage. So you're probably
Yeah.
going to make that even worse because they don't think that they can get the resources that they could before. So
Hmm.
which disciplines, which disciplines should be considered to be professional? I guess we need to understand what the definitions are to be professional. Because it's like somebody said about what conceivable standard are nursing, physical therapists, and audiologists not regarded as professionals? It should be obvious that allied
Hmm.
health care professionals and allied health programs prepare students to be healthcare professionals.
Yes.
So it's yeah. See, you gotta the details matter. You gotta read the details, and they throw this stuff in here, and it's just like mind-boggling because do they really think about the impact it's going to have on these people? Not even those who are professionals right now. Well, technically they're not by the government, which is effed up. But the people who are like in the middle of getting in the program, or the people like, well, what is a trade? And look, trades are great.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, I feel like almost the Trump administration has like this, they got a problem with universities and institutions. It's like they want to do damage to them in certain ways, of all the things that they go, they're going after them. It's like, it's just like we're getting government money from us. You got to take these programs. You can't be woke. You can't be all this stuff. And regardless what you think about it, it's like, why is this attack on educators and education? And here it comes again, because you list educators as not being professors. Well, we know right now we have a
Yes.
considerable problem in public schools. We're having enough educators, having enough good educators for help, paying educators enough.
Paying them.
I mean, we depend on those educators to raise our kids half the time.
Yeah.
Half
They're
the time
with the
through their
teachers more than they're with
childhood.
the parents.
Exactly. And now you're saying they're not professionals.
Yeah.
So it's another chink in the armor of these people who are doing so much work to make sure
Yeah.
that we get these kids, everybody has a fair chance. And constantly, this administration is coming for education, just like, Ms. McMahon, who's over the Secretary of Education in that department, just dismantling that department and just now they say there's certain critical programs that won't be bothered, but then they're parsing out everything to different programs. They're basically just spreading things out that they'll be just not really a congruent way to run the education program. And all it's going to do is send more kids to probably private school, make public school worse. But then again, if they send it to private school, I always say follow the dollar, and that's where the dollar goes. Very similar to the reason why we have a problem with the penal system today is because it's a for-profit system. And how can you not be incentivized to have people in jail and have people? I'm hearing a bad echo now. What did you just do?
I didn't just do anything.
Honey, you just did something after you did
said
something.
My AirPods
Don't give
stopped.
me attitude. I'm just asking. You just asking your question. So what happened? You said your AirPods died. Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
Well, then that's what happened. And
And
that's all
you-
you have to say. You
you're
said,
like,
oh, my AirPods died, because now I'm hearing an echo. I said, what did you do? You could have said, I didn't do anything. They died. That's that simple. Because now I'm hearing the feedback from the computer.
I don't know. I put them back in.
So what happened
yeah.
just then? It just went away. Okay. That's all right. All right. So, yeah. So the problem is that the continued attack, it seems, on education, where it's like, well, where's the continued attack on healthcare? Why don't they do something on healthcare? Which, by the way, they are having a continued attack on healthcare because they're getting rid of parts of the ACA,
Right.
or others know it as Obamacare. But the alternative is probably going to hit people in the pocket. A lot of those people who actually voted for Trump very, very hard. And that's yet to come out. But these things are interesting because I say, everybody's thinking what's going to happen in the elections of 2026. I don't think the Republicans are going to just lie down, even though they've had a terrible year or so about that. But they've got something up their sleeves. And it's interesting that also in the past 2 weeks, Trump finally decided he just took everybody knows he just took a 180 turn and said, all right, go ahead, release those files. And I didn't even think, honestly, and I told you, I didn't think it was going to get through the Senate. But it got to his desk and he's going to sign it. But he lost one of his girls. He lost, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Or is it Marjorie Greene Taylor? Or is it Marjorie Taylor Greene? They lost her. And then he went, it's just the 180 he does on people. He's calling her names. It's just like I don't get it. I don't get people, how you want to follow a guy who attacks women the way that he does. And then
Call
he
her
did it
piggy.
again with the reporter calling her a piggy. And yet there was alarm over it, but it's still like there should be more alarm over it when we have a president that cannot control himself when he gets asked a tough
It's
question.
so crazy.
And is petulant
Yes.
like a petulant like a child. Like I say, he gives us so much. He gives us so many things to talk about. He's good and bad. He's the greatest.
Please
As I
stop.
said it again. I'll say it almost every podcast. He's
Please,
the
please
greatest
stop.
social media content
stop.
creator
Yeah,
ever.
but you're giving
He is,
him
though.
you're
I mean,
giving
he's
him
he's
things
making a
that
lot
I
of people
just don't
money
approve
online.
of on this podcast. Stop giving his
I'm not giving him
his
anything other than the fact that he
his
gives us a lot of
accolades. Like that's
volume
what
of
he
stuff
wants.
to
He
talk
wants to
about. He
it
does.
is. It's praising him. You're
That's not an
praising him.
accolade.
No?
That is not a. That's
I
not.
don't
That's like saying you're the. No, would I be praising somebody if I
yeah,
said they were the
no.
greatest
I
serial
don't like
killer
him.
ever? No, I wouldn't be. I would just be at the top of the list. You're at the top of the
Okay,
list, but you
so
don't
with that
necessarily
being
want to
said,
be. And he gives us that advantage. But the piggy thing
with that
was
being
like
said, did
that
you
piggy thing
know
was
that
weird.
he pardoned somebody in
Like he came for
2021 for a Ponzi scam, and he was sentenced to 24 years in prison, but he pardoned him, and now he's resentenced again for 37 years for scamming, falsely promising investors access to supplies for the war. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
It's
just
not
like,
the first time it's
I
happened.
didn't say it was.
It's
I'm
not the
just
first
saying,
time it's
like,
happened.
why did you pardon this guy? And then he goes, so you pardoned him, and then he goes and does the same thing over again, and he gets even more years. So now he had 24, but now he has 37.
Okay. I mean, he pardoned the guy from January 6th, and the guy came back and ended up getting shot and killed in a gunfight. He pardoned somebody on January 6th and ended up
Uh,
getting arrested again for
okay.
other charges.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, you can't. That's you're the man in charge, so you can make decisions. He admits he doesn't even know why he pardons people. Sometimes he just says,
yeah.
"Sounds like I should pardon." And look, like I've said before, the difference between him
Yes,
and other
I know.
presidents is he tells you what you may be thinking, but you don't think that you're supposed to say. He does, because we've had past
I
presidents that
know.
have
You say
pardoned
that all the
thousands
time.
of people too. And I'm sure some of those thousands have come back and they're back in jail.
I mean, when you get
I think it's, like I said, sometimes it's not
what
what
is
you
it
do, it's how
called?
you do it.
Get out a free jail card, and then you just go and do stupid stuff again. I'm just like, why? I was just about to say a cuss word, and I held myself back. And so what the
What?
crazy part is, because
I've
we were
never heard
having a
that happen before.
conversation,
You
and
hold
I was
back
just
on a
like,
curse
you
word?
said to me, you curse so much, and I said, well, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be somebody that I'm not on this podcast? Like, I curse all the time. So why wouldn't I curse on this podcast? So you want me to pretend to be somebody I'm not? You said to
I didn't
me,
say don't
who
curse.
cares?
I
And
just
I
said you
curse a lot
cursed a
every
lot.
day.
Hold up. It's like, hey, it's just like if somebody eats a lot, you go, hey,
No,
you eat a lot. That doesn't say you
no,
stop
no.
eating. It's just
It's an
a
observation.
observation.
No,
So
but
no, I can't make an
let me ask you
observation.
something. Do
I
I
can't make
curse?
an
Do I curse
observation.
on a regular? So then why wouldn't I curse on here?
Yes, but so do I.
No, you
That's why I
said,
said, but it's
yeah, you
still, it
curse
says
a
you
lot on
curse a
the
lot. Did I not make an
You
observation?
curse a lot on the
Did I make
podcast.
an observation?
Well, do I curse
Did I
all the
make an
time or not?
observation, or did
It
I
says either
tell
yes or
you
no
to?
answer.
I didn't say you curse all the time. I said you curse a lot. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. And actually, it's a compliment. You know why it's a
Mhm,
yeah, and I didn't say I did.
mhm.
Yes, yes, you did. So, and it's actually
Well,
a
you know I'm
compliment,
direct. Okay.
because people who swear a lot may be
Yeah.
more intelligent, honest, and expressive, as research suggests.
Mhm,
Swearing
mhm,
can correlate with a higher verbal fluency and the tendency to be more direct.
mhm.
How about that? Well, yes, we do know that. We do that. Although there's good
So
and bad
say.
that comes with it. Lower agreeableness, stress, and negative self-talk.
Mhm.
Although there are positives, but everything, context is key. Intent matters. But yeah, you're on the higher intelligence side if you curse a lot. So say So say the scientists. And
I
we
read
were
that.
talking about intelligence. And see, this is, well, excuse me, we were talking about education, which talks about intelligence, which, there's this article in the New York magazine talking about the big fail. Student achievement is falling off the cliff. And it's neither to blame Trump or the pandemic. It's just how things were going. There was nearly 30%
8th graders?
of eighth graders failed to come up with a simple mathematic equation. 12 minus 4 plus 12 plus 4. What is that? They couldn't answer that question. By the time they got to the 12th grade, eighth graders, 12th graders, students were asked on the National Assessment Test to demonstrate fundamental skills, fundamental capabilities of thinking like an adult, like recognizing the point of a persuasive essay. And one of the math problems on that test was a restaurant bill. Hamburger, $7, sandwich, $8, salad, $7, fries, $5, milkshake, $4, tea, $3. And it said, add it up,
Wow. Yeah.
the 6 items,
Yeah, that's
and calculate a 20% tip.
yeah. That
Three
is
quarters
really
of the high schoolers were unable to correctly answer one,
I believe
adding up
that.
the total, or both, adding up the total and
Because
giving a
you think
20%
about
tip.
in the days
That is sad.
of, growing up,
That
and I'm sure they still have
that is sad.
conferences and things like that, but, letting your parents know,
And
like,
then,
okay,
and then
your
they say
child
that
is
parents
falling
don't even know their
behind,
kids are behind.
they're unable to do X, Y, and Z. Do those things still take place? I don't know. I can't remember. Did my daughter tell me that Leilani had a conference? I know Sebastian had a conference. He's in preschool, but I can't remember. Did she say Leilani and them had conferences? But they had conferences last year, so I'm sure they're still doing conferences. But yeah, that's a little disappointing. I mean, or I should say a lot. But these kids are so busy on TikTok and everything else that learning the basic fundamentals in life are just not that important. I'm sorry.
It's got to it's deeper. It's got to be deeper than that, right? Because that, in a sense, gives you more access to information and gives you different skill sets. But just like there are students that don't know how to write in cursive, and then you may say, "Well, writing in cursive isn't really that important anymore. Just as long as you can write, just as long as you can read." I would say, kinda, but the more you wrote in cursive, the more you were actually practicing your language. Now, are they practicing their language with text? By the way we usually write text, probably not. and I think the other thing is there's so many things that assist us, and maybe they dumb us down. I mean, AI is kind of a way to dumb us down because you don't have to. It takes a lot of the grunt work out of stuff, but at the same time, it doesn't give you that ability to actually have to think about things and say, what does that mean? And then that constant being able to go to some place where, we had to go do Dewey Decimal and look in the almanac and look at the, in encyclopedia. Not that that's the way it should be done, because progress is great. But at the same
Right.
time, what's taking the place of those skills that you learn from being able to figure things out? And if you went to college, and look, college is the end all be all. That's being proven day in and
Yeah,
day out.
absolutely.
But what college does give you is the practice of following a plan and thinking through a plan. Not the trade doesn't do that. I think it does it in a more tactical way, and that can be just as sufficient and educational. And look, there are many billionaires that dropped out of school or never went to school. Many millionaires did the same thing. So it's always like, if the goal, it's just like the whole athlete thing, right? Just have a college for athletes, because if that's what they're doing to prepare themselves for life, for a job to get out,
Right.
teach them the basics and let them go practice their craft so they can go out there and earn a living as a professional. And just like, funny profession, just as professionals do, we all go through phases of our career where what we learn in our career far surpasses what we learned in
You
school.
should be able
right?
to.
people would say, oh, but you only do athletics for a certain amount of time. Well, no, there's different levels of athletics, right?
Calculator.
There's the actual playing of them. Then
Yeah.
there's being involved in
Yeah.
the ecosystem of them, which you can learn while you're playing them. So it's the same type of thing. But I think there's something has to be done. I mean, you should be able to add up 6 items on a bill
Right.
that are no more than $10 each, and should be able to determine what a 20% tip is without a phone or a calculator. Simple math. I'm not asking you to do algorithm. I'm not algebra or calculus, which I probably couldn't do calculus homework or heck even algebra homework right now if Leilani brought it home, right? So it is it's discouraging that in the article is actually called
Mhm.
the stupiding of the American mind. Thinking hard about why we're all getting dumb. It's a fascinating article. It's a long article, but it's a fascinating article. What conclusions it
55%?
comes to are up for debate, but it's not wrong.
Wow.
So 55% of New Jersey, this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
55% of
These
New
kids are our
Jersey fourth
future, and
graders
it's just
can't do
it's
math at grade level.
again, we were watching something last night, and again, it's
55%
how the system is, works
can't
now.
do
It's just like
math at
basically it's
grade
just all by
level.
testing, because if they have good test grades, or I can't
That's a
remember, it's
problem.
good test grades or bad test grades, you get more funding,
That is a problem.
or I can't remember the conversation. I mean, I think it's, I think a lot of the schools are, when you have about 30 kids in a class and you may have, 15 of the kids that
No,
may
well, the schools are
struggle,
concerned about it. The teachers were
how
concerned
much
about it
time can a
because it's
teacher
kind of like an
spend with
incentive for the
that
school. If they have
student
good average test
individually
grades,
to
they
give
get more
them extra
funding.
help? And I know that sometimes they have aides or something in the class, that can, give some type of assistance. And I know that there's different classes for kids that really, really struggle to leave outside the class for assistance. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. I do remember those things when my kids were growing up, that if any of the kids struggled in anything, it was just like, okay, well, we'll take an hour and they can go into a different class where maybe they can get the one-on-one that they need. I don't know if that's something that the school systems even offer that now. They should. I mean, to me, I'm like, with things evolving, there should be more opportunities for the kids to learn. Yeah.
No, I think that, and there's both sides of it. I think what we're doing is not working. And then you go, well,
Yeah. What was working then?
do we change it? Can everybody agree on the change? Can
Mhm.
money fix the problem? We say money can fix the problem, but you can pay people more to teach, but that's not going to change.
Right.
You got to change the system and how we teach. And why was it okay then? Or why was it working then? Well, then that's debatable. Why was it
Right.
working then, or what was working then? It's like both can be true. There were things working then, but yet the system needs to be better. We can improve on the system for everybody.
Right.
And then what does that look like? What it doesn't look like
Mhm.
is erasing part of our history just because it doesn't sound good, feel good, or doesn't look good on different ethnicities or different populations. Because guess what? Each
Mhm.
ethnicity and population has some things that don't look good,
Mhm.
and how we've either behaved as a group or individuals. So it's like, come on. It's like that's how you get to the point in life where you learn from these either atrocities or bad things, and
Mhm.
but you also have to have examples of what to aspire to in every group. And as a country, we have such a rich and we're like a patched quilt. We have so many
Mhm.
different colors and patterns in our history
Right.
that make us what we are. I don't understand why we would want to delete like books of the Bible. Why would we want to delete, the history
Right.
unless we
Right.
were trying to influence people in the history, excuse me, in the future of what we are, and not knowing how we actually got to be there. And we didn't get to be there. It's like just like the
Exactly.
Japanese can take out Pearl
Mhm.
Harbor out of their history books, but it doesn't
Yeah.
tell the story of how they got to be where they got to be. Just like you can't erase
Right.
slavery, you can't erase the Holocaust, you can't erase you can't erase wars, you can't erase all these things that have happened, and then expect people to understand how you got to the way you are as a country, let alone as a person. If you erase part of that history, you're just trying to hide
Mhm.
that fact. So you're not really telling the story. So I just think that there's a lot there.
Mhm.
We could sit there and talk about. I don't, they say how the liberals have failed education. I'm like, it's not just the liberals. I think the liberals have taken their blame for it, but it's everybody. Everybody has to take responsibility for it. I'm a peaceful kid, so I have great respect and great affinity for public school, and I think public school works. I think a great example that was the public school system that I went to in Howard County,
Yeah.
Howard County, Maryland, which is still one of the best school systems, public school systems in the country. So we have
Absolutely.
examples. We have examples of what works for private school. We have examples for what works for magnet schools. We have examples of what works for public school. It's like, why can't we just get together and figure out the best of those
Right.
systems and put them
Right.
together and make them work so we can give? Because the whole thing is just giving every person a fair start. And you cannot give them an equal playing ground. I'm not even going to pretend that that's a reality just because of where you're born and all that stuff. If that was the case, it wouldn't matter what country you were born in. We know that's not the case. Where we were lucky enough, fortunate enough to be born in the United States, that gives us certain privileges and certain opportunities that would not have happened if we were born someplace else.
So we're talking
Now,
about
we could talk about inside that,
countries and
and
different
the
opportunities.
level of opportunities.
I'm going to pivot off of
just
that.
as
What
an
did you?
opportunity
What were
to
your thoughts?
wake up in the
of,
morning and say, I can be
Greece?
whatever I want to be.
What
and
were
do
your
whatever I
thoughts? What
wanna
was
do.
your
Let me say it was easy. But since we're in this environment, you would think we could get together and we could solve that problem.
I did too.
Well, the audience may be asking why you're asking me that. That's because that's where we were off camera for a good week in the last 10 days. I loved Greece. I thought it was interesting. What I told somebody else though is I appreciate where I am whenever I go away into a different country.
Yeah.
And it matters nowhere. It is because
Yeah.
there
No.
are things there that I'm like, all right, I'm glad I don't have to deal with this 24/7. I could deal with it for this period of time. But it's different, right? I think that, the food was great. The people were nice. The history, you can't get that here because we're not that old of a nation.
Yeah.
It is, it's a fascinating city. It's beautiful, right? It's a city right on the water with no tide splat. It's just like the most serene bay of water that I've ever seen for a
Thessaloniki.
long period of time. And how it's embraced by, the Greeks, the Thessalonians, if that's what if that's how they are. We weren't in Athens. We were in Thessaloniki, which is to the northwest. To the northeast of Athens, about a 4.5, 5-hour drive north of Athens, and I've been to both, and I like Thessaloniki better than
Right.
Athens, and I thought Athens was cool. There's
Very.
nothing like
Very.
flying into Athens though, coming around. It's almost like a James Bond intro when you
Thanks
fly
to-
over Athens during the morning
Thanks
and the
to-
sun shining, and you see all these houses on the side of mountains and all that stuff.
Well, Lance actually
Thessaloniki
suggested
is
that we
not
went,
as
but he didn't pick the
picturesque.
winery. But
From the air,
was
but it's
very
impressive on the ground.
yes.
It is impressive on the ground.
Oh,
And we
my.
went to one of the best wineries, winery food tastings and
Ah,
tastings that I've ever been to.
God.
And believe me, we've been to a lot. We've been to a lot. But it was right.
It was
You picked
so
the winery. And it
good.
was
You know what's
right
so
up there
funny,
with
Jamie?
anything
Lance
you've
says,
been
"You know,
to
Mom,
in Tuscany.
yeah, I think I'll do another wine
or
tasting." He
Burgundy,
was like, "I really
or
enjoyed that."
Napa,
Yeah.
or Sonoma, or any in the Northwest in Seattle.
Yeah, that
The
was
food
that
pairings
was really
were
good.
incredible. It was like some
Well,
Michelin
that's because
star
he was
shit,
out the
right?
night before. He was
It
out the night
was
before.
very good.
Yeah, that was
Yeah. That's when those young taste buds start to grow a little
Yeah.
bit. They're like, what you want a wine? Who wants to go to a wine tasting? That's boring. Yeah, until you sit down
Yeah.
and you start drinking that wine and having food.
Yeah, I loved
Yeah,
it.
those taste buds start to
I wish I
mature
could
a
have
little
stayed
bit when you
longer.
get a little bit of that stuff in you.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was, I
They
thought it was a
absolutely
great
do.
place. I would highly
Yeah.
recommend visiting. I haven't you know, I haven't been to too many places in Europe that I wouldn't recommend visiting. So it was good. Very European.
I mean, the food.
They drive a little bit crazy over there, but they have to.
God, I wish I knew that restaurant that his
they have to, but it was
right.
I
I
thought it
wish I
was
knew the
it was good.
restaurant
It
name.
was
Do you remember
better
his
than I
friend's
expected. I didn't expect much.
the restaurant we went and his
But
teammate
it
was there that
definitely
he recommended that we
beat
went
my
to?
expectations. And like I said, it was better than Athens. It was a cooler vibe than
I don't know.
Athens. Food was
But that was really good. They were
wonderful.
all
Now it is
everything
supposed
was
to be
so
the
good.
food capital of Athens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed
I
to be
thought
the
I was
food
gonna
capital
come
of
back
Greece.
with a whole
Thessalonica.
bunch of pounds on me, but pleasantly surprised. The food is just different there.
Started with a C. I can't remember. You're gonna have to ask them. They were good. No.
Yes.
No. So, you know, it's unfortunate because you're over there and you're
Mhm.
thinking of what they're thinking of us because of, you know, do they think we're just a big reality TV show country? And, you know, you ask people there, what do you think
Not
about, you
ours.
know, they were very favorable. They
Exactly.
were very
Yeah.
complimentary of Americans. They were like, oh, you know, all the Americans we run into have been great. We mentioned our political situation in the government, and they're like, oh, you know, you got that Trump thing going on, but they're kind of like, hey, that's your problem, not ours. You know, not our problem. But it's funny how disconnected you get when you're over there for a while because you're 7 hours ahead and it feels like everything's happening after the fact. But one other thing that happened with Trump was he went off on Democrats. A few Democrats that came out, I think they came out
Mhm.
on social media and they said to military, to our military, look, you don't need to follow commands that are unlawful. And my man went off. He said, this is seditious behavior, punishable by death. Now, there's one thing if somebody's ranting on Twitter or social media about death and then nobody. But when the president says you're basically a traitor and you should die, there's probably some crazies out there that will probably listen. So he put these 4 or 5 Congress members in
I
right
mean,
in the middle of the, hairs of the target. And it's just like there continues to be this unstatesmanly like behavior. But this is like, okay, you call somebody a piggy. That's rude. It's unprofessional. It's not,
right.
it's not stately. But when you start putting people's lives in danger because of what you say, when you know the history that's happened, especially over the last few years with
Did he though?
the people in the Midwest, the
Stop.
politicians in the Midwest getting like hunted down and killed and shot at. And when you know for your own self that you've been tried to be assassinated that we know of twice. One came very
You don't
close
get
to
it, but
happening. You lost part of your ear. You got somebody out of a tree at a golf course. Look, I can only go on about what the facts tell us. So I just
absolutely.
don't get it. It's like
Right.
I don't get it. It's just that's all I can say. I don't get people who can still support that. You can't say, oh, he just says what's on his mind. Well, that has repercussions. It has consequences, right? It's like First Amendment. Nobody says you can't say what you want to say, but there are consequences. Those consequences.
Well, what we can indict you on is your Jeffrey Epstein.
So, and unfortunately,
no, why not?
Because that's one of the first things he got done when he came into office and said, hey, y'all can't indict me for anything that I do while I'm in office. The head of state is unapproachable. Well, no, you can't. You'll have to wait. No, you'll have to wait till he gets out of office. While he's in office, that's why he didn't get sentenced to his thing in New York. And that's why I got it dumped. That's why he was so adamant about trying to win, because he knew if he won, he was going to stay out of jail. Now, the question is, how long can he stay out of jail if after the election? Now, after the next election, now, probably what will happen is the next president will will go ahead and give him, we'll get him off. They'll say, no, we're not. Well, let's not go down this. Let's not unearth all these terrible things, and let's let the president give him a pardon, as they have with others. They'll give him a pardon. I think whether they'll be Democrat or Republican, they'll give him a pardon. However, this is an interesting time,
No.
and I just don't get it. I just don't see how people can still follow. So
And
it'll
you
be
know
interesting
what the
to see
crazy part is?
what the three biggest groups do in the next election, right? It's Hispanic men, because they did not vote for Kamala
Mhm.
Harris, nor am I saying they should have, but they did not. They
I
switched. They were like, it's
so
not
I
gonna be
feel
Joe.
like, and
I'm not voting
I
for
could
her.
be completely
Same thing
wrong,
with
but
African
from what
American men,
I see
and the same
in
thing,
Spanish culture is
with
that if their father is
the
not
same
around,
thing
the
with
mother
blue collar workers.
is the one that they run to,
weren't
even
gonna do
at the grownest of grown men.
You were about to say.
Now, I could be wrong, right? But the thing is that so if you see your mother as this matriarch, she can run a family, she can do all these things. I mean, with her eyes closed, why don't you think that a woman could run the country? And I know that some people think that,
I would say
you know,
it's
oh,
like
we're too
I would say it's like
sensitive,
that
and I don't
for
know who we were having
anything,
this
but yes.
conversation with, but I truly believe, yes, I will cry at Hell's Kitchen. I will cry over the littlest things. But I do believe that there are women that are not as sensitive and do have the
'Cause
fortitude to run this country. And I think that, Mhm. Mm, yeah,
but it's religion. You can follow it in religion. I mean, it's Catholicism, it's Judaism, it's all those things, because all the religions teach that the man is the head of the household,
she's a flat
regardless of how
earther.
much work, life, or anything that a female does, right? And that's where it comes from. So those are, we were having a conversation about somebody's beliefs. Beliefs are hard, just like the flat earthers,
Mhm.
right? Like your friend, who's a flat earther, and having this long conversation. And it's remarkable when you have a conversation with a true believer in flat earth. It's scary because there's nothing to back it up. And you can have as much data as you want.
Right.
That data, they just don't believe it because they believe something else, no matter how, it's like water's wet. No, it's dry. It's like, well, it's wet and I can prove it's wet, but no, I believe it's dry. And then that's what they believe. It's very much like, well, there's faith
Mhm.
and there's religion, right? It's kind of like faith, because at least in
Mhm.
religion, you have a
Right.
book that you can say, well, you can point to in the book. At
Right.
least that book is factual. What in that book is not necessarily factual, but the book you
Can
can hold on to,
cannot.
the book you can read. There are
But
pages.
she would
Faith
say, can
is,
they prove there's a round earth?
I believe that wind exists. I can't see it. I can't smell it. I can feel it. So I know it exists. But then I can prove there's wind. That's a little bit different too. I can prove that there's wind. But they can't prove that there's a flat earth. Cannot.
No.
Yes. But then how you prove it, they
Right,
denounce
runs
it.
around the
Because they say, well,
sun.
you go up in space and take a picture. And they say, well, that doesn't show it's round. It still shows it's flat.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So we can take 3D pictures now. But they also don't believe that there's a solar system out there. They believe that the sun
She
revolves
did.
around the earth.
She
They don't
did.
believe that the earth
And
revolves around the sun,
I'm
and they don't
okay that
believe
she
that there are
believes
other
it. That's
solar
her
systems out
beliefs.
there. They believe we live in one of those domes like
Yes, you
Christmas. You
were.
shake up and the flakes fly around. That's basically what it is. Like there's this
You were
40
like,
mile
yo.
tall ice wall or something. I think I read about the flat earth. She said the same thing to the friend we're talking about. She believed that. And I was infatuated with the conversation, because
Leave
I
her
was like,
alone.
really? I mean, all that. I mean, you just put everything in. Like I said, we went to the moon, and she was
Right.
like, have we? I'm like, yeah, like 8 or 9 times, maybe. Have we? Yes. So everybody else has been there too. What do you mean? Have we? I'm like, all right.
Mhm.
Maybe there was something about the first
Yeah.
moonwalk that made people think it was kind of And there wasn't AI back then. It's not like we could do
Yeah.
Photoshop. But maybe there was something back then that people can, say,
So where are the
I
astronauts going?
doubt
Where are
that.
they going?
But then again, what about the other ones, right? What about the other ones,
Yeah,
right? Like
like
we didn't go into
where are they
space.
where
We
where
know
are they
we've been in
going?
space. So when they go up and there's no gravity, what's that mean? People have been to space, looked
hmm
down on the Earth,
Yeah.
seen it. It's not. And then my thing was, the thing that they never can answer is how come they're going in the globe. In the
hmm
globe, they're going to my thing was, how come I can, if I start here today
No.
and I go straight, I will
hmm
end up right back
Yeah.
here eventually. How is that? And I'm not
Yeah, that's
deviating off the
crazy.
course. I'm just going on a straight line. If I go straight, I will go straight around the world and I'll end up back in the same spot. How is that?
Absolutely, she
Because I
was.
can't go under. Flat Earth, you can't go under. It's really, they think it's a sphere,
Yeah.
like a frisbee, but you can't go under. Can't go under.
hmm
So I was fascinated by the discussion because I've never spoke to somebody who actually, really, truly, this person was a true believer. And I'm like, have you been in a plane before? And
We're
because
just going
you
up there
flew up here.
sitting.
So if you flew up here, and you got to get 12 miles up to be able to see the horizon. But I guess I maybe I'm the dumb one. Maybe I'm all
Right.
this science and all
Maybe
this
that's it.
stuff is just people fooling us, and we haven't been to the moon, and Elon Musk, his little car is not floating around there and revolving around itself as out there, just out there,
Okay, I thought you were saying
out in
something like you had
space,
a
getting millions of miles away. So maybe that's now. What I will say is that we all know, we should know, that science evolves, and what we know now probably isn't accurate. It's just what we know now.
hmm
What
Oh
we
yeah,
know
yeah,
now
you
in
you did
science is
mention
not
that.
accurate. It's because they have, I think, what was it? I read that and I might have said this last time, they believe they have found a faster, what is it, travel? Like when the speed of light, there's a faster traveling than the speed of light, right? So if that's true, if there's a different calculation for how fast things travel, then that would throw everything off. That would throw the clock off. That would throw everything we know about timing and math off. And I think I read that somewhere that they have done that. So I think we keep on finding out these things, as well as we keep on finding out things that people thought about a long time ago. The Einsteins of the world, the Galileos of the world, actually have come true. But there was an interesting thing the other day about people talking about aliens being here. Do we think aliens are here? I believe most people think that there's probably some extraterrestrial things going on. Area 51 things that the government hid from us because they didn't want us to know, and for whatever reason. But then there's the other thought that we're not the only planet out there that can sustain life. There are, I think, thousands of planets that are very similar to Earth in these galaxies out there in the universe. We just haven't been able to contact them, but we know they're there. We've seen the galaxies. We know that the galaxies are very similar to ours. We know that we know that there are planets revolving around a star,
hmm
like the sun is not too close to burn up things and not too far away to not sustain life. And then the discussion is, maybe we are the intelligent life
Right.
form, and they are too, and their technology hasn't
That's what you think?
gotten any further ahead than ours. And we're all on the same kind of similar pace in places that have life like ours. So they can't communicate with us, and we can't communicate with them yet because we haven't discovered that technology to be able to do it. So it's not like, so we're on that same pace. Um, I, I think it's a plausible argument. Do I think that there aren't life
There's
forms
nothing here for us.
that have higher technology or further technology? I mean, I think we would be crazy to think not, but at the same time, if they did, and if they've been here, maybe they thought, these cats are so far behind.
Okay.
We were there 1,000 years ago. We need to move on. There's nothing here. There's nothing here for us. Um, so I don't know. I thought that was fascinating. And why hasn't that been something that, people thought? It's like, yeah, I know there's other life out there. I mean, okay, I'll be a flat earther on that. That's my belief that there's other life out there. Don't know what it looks like, don't know what it is, but it's plausible to think that their technology hasn't gotten any further than ours. Because if you really look at how long we're actually as a planet in the universe, we're a nanosecond of history. I mean, we are e- even if this world lasts another million years, when the star goes out and this planet blows up, it'll still be not even a pimple on an elephant's ass.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be less than that. It'll be a hair follicle on an elephant's ass. It'll be so insignificant in the space of time for how long the universe and the galaxy is here. That's the other thing.
I
It's
think
like,
if there is life
look how long it's taken us
somewhere
to get where
else on
we
another
are.
planet,
And things speed up, or
why
we're going the way we're supposed to be
and I'm
going,
not
and
saying because we
other
have the technology
civilizations
to
that
go
are
to the
on
moon
other
that we don't have
planets
the
are doing the same
technology to go
thing.
to
It'll
another
be interesting. It's like, no
planet
wonder we can't
to
communicate
search
with them.
for
And
other
they can't
human
communicate with us.
or other life. Or have we tried to do that? I don't know. But if we can make it to the moon, why can't we go and see if there's other life elsewhere? Exactly. Because we've been doing this for how long? Right. Which is amazing to me. Yeah.
Well, we made it to the moon with less computer power that's in the hand of that's in your hand right now with a phone.
Okay.
So, I mean, and we went to the moon in the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it took us another 60 years to get where we are. We're doing some
Okay.
George Jetson stuff now, but that's what I think. I think if we can think it, we can do it. It may take us a while to get there. I think eventually we'll be able to communicate with other planets that have life forms that can
Right.
communicate, because we think about it. So if we can think it and visualize it, I believe it can happen. Now,
Yeah.
how long that takes? I mean, you know what? We're doing the George Jetson stuff 60 years. So maybe that's probably not a good yardstick, but just for its and giggles, let's say it is. And it would take us it takes a lifetime for us to really have, AI was a lifetime. That was a lifetime it took
Like,
to get there. And there's a lot of scientific discovery that has
I
taken
thought your dad and you were
a
talking
lifetime
about it.
for it to get to us. So that's not
Mhm.
it's not surprising. But I do think I haven't found it. I was looking for that whole faster than the speed of light. Everybody says no, but
I
I
want to
think that
talk
I
about
read something about
fitness
that.
because that's
And I
just
think that
my
if that
thing,
happens,
right?
yeah, if
So
that
I'm trying to come
happens,
up with a new
then
program for
that
myself,
changes a lot of things.
and I'm just trying to decide on,
That changes a lot of things.
you and I have
So
went back and
we'll
forth
find
with
out.
different things that we have
What else do you
tried.
have
We
to
have
talk about
tried to
this
be a
week?
vegan. We have tried to be, well, did we ever try to be vegan or we just were pescatarians? Pescatarian. Now we're, what? Right. I mean, and then, now so much on the high protein, and that's, something that we were on for, I don't know how many weeks, like 12 weeks or something like that. And I'm just trying to decide on what exactly I want to do, as far as
Yeah,
my
we were
my
fake
next fitness
vegans. We're
journey.
eating fish.
Not that I'm
We were
competing,
fake vegans. We were eating
just trying
fish.
to see on where I stand and where my body composition is to move forward with the next, building phase of building my muscle. But for you, what was the best, or what is, I mean, your best diet ratio? And not even saying diet, because I don't ever really feel like we're dieting. I think that they were just very mindful of the food that we eat, and we do exercise daily. But what are your thoughts on, what do you think is the best thing for exercise and eating? Like, where have you seen your best, your most growth, or your best version of yourself in all of those different, diets that we have taken on, and not even diets, but right.
Well, that's just a different. Yeah, you keep on saying diet. It's really not. It's just a different way of eating, right? And the more you learn, for me,
Hmm.
I think
No,
what's really
absolutely.
um, been the most beneficial is the least amount of processed foods as possible, which I've always been an advocate of, especially over the last 2 years, is just meat. I mean, meat's probably 90% of the things that I consume, uh, whether it's red meat, white meat,
No,
fish,
I
even
know,
some
and
processed meats.
I love
But I think we
vegetables,
need
and then
to,
I
and
become
I think you
lazy and
can, it's in moderation. I mean, ultra processed foods are out there. It's kind of hard to get away from them,
it's
but
to me, it's not
I
even for
think
the
that,
vitamins. It's
you
because
know,
I
I try to
enjoy
stay
them.
away from
I
even
love vegetables.
sweets. And you know, I don't even
And
eat
then I don't cook
vegetables.
them because you
To
don't
me,
eat
they're a
them. So
waste
I'm
of
like,
time.
I don't eat them either now.
They're a waste. They really are because you can't eat enough. You can't eat enough of vegetables to get the vitamins you have. So you might as well just take a vitamin and go. To me, but it's, well, see, I don't, to me, meat is
Yeah.
protein, and protein. And you can't eat enough. We're not talking about somebody who's going out here and trying to be Mr. Universe or Mr. Olympia or trying to have some body dysmorphia and trying to do this. I'm just talking about it's hard to eat 200 grams of protein in a day. So it's kind of hard to do that. And as long as, you know, of course, I go get labs and you do all these things to make sure your numbers are
Meat.
right.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, when we were doing the vegetarian, pescatarian stuff, my labs were crazy. Not good. Crazy, not good. And then I said, because you know what? You end up eating a lot of ultra processed stuff to take the place. And then we were eating a lot of that Beyond Meat and all that stuff, which is even the highest of processed, ultra processed you can do, all the sodium and all that stuff. And look, if you just get some grass fed meat and source it from the right farm and the right purveyors, nothing like it.
Dr.
Feel
Decrease.
more, I got more energy. Uh, it's just skin looks better. The hair that I do have is healthier. Uh, Body composition is better. And I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not. I follow my boy Dr. Jaquish from the France Right X3 system. It's like totally life changing. If y'all, and hey, we're not getting paid for it, but Dr. Jaquish, look him up online, Jaquish. Look up his X3 exercise system. It's working smarter with variable resistance versus static resistance versus, other words, bands, and versus weights, more traditional. I used to lift a lot, had joint pain, knee pain, back pain, elbow pain, shoulder pain, and you're just pushing through it. Stronger than I was before, you know, after 3 years of
Mhm.
doing this religiously, no joint pain, no wrist pain, no knee pain anymore, all these things. But it's a different mentality.
Right.
And it's not working out long or harder. It's working out smarter and getting the most out of that. And it's about going to exhaust when you exhaust your muscles. But you are the only one that's going to really know if you've exhausted your muscles and if you've taken it to full exhaustion with half reps and quarter reps. And so for me, that's what it's been. And I just dove into it after. And look, this guy has invented osteoporosis exercise machines to limit the loss of bone density. That's how he, you know, made his money on the scene and then came out with this exercise equipment that's pretty unique. But now a lot of pro athletes are using it as well. Some to supplement, some do it religiously as part of their training. And I'm a believer
Right.
in it. And he's got a podcast and he's got YouTube channels, got a website, sells a bunch of
I know, and
products
I just
too.
can't seem to do it.
And not that because he's a doctor, you follow him, but I do it because of the research. The data's there, right? And you just follow that at the end of the day. It's not, I believe this. It's like the data's there to prove
Mhm.
the theory. And then you put the theory into practice and it works. And it's like, all right, I don't have to work out for an hour and a half and all that stuff. Doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long to build muscle. What it takes is consistency. It's kind of like you can't walk a mile until you walk the first step. You just keep on putting the steps in front of each other and you just keep on walking until you reach that and you'll get there and you'll get there faster been doing what you traditionally have done. Because, and it's not saying that doesn't work. It's not saying that all you people who belong to Equinox and Planet Fitness and all those things don't work. I've been there, done all that. And it doesn't mean that your exercise regimen doesn't bring, take stress off of you. You feel good doing it. But I like all the benefits. I'd rather feel good, not be in pain, build muscle, still be able to do all the lifts I could with the strength I could, if
You
not
know,
more.
and it's so crazy
doing
because I
this
always say to
system.
you that I'm going to try it,
Um,
and I'm just
and it's
like,
about
just
being in
it
the
just doesn't.
most safest position with the heaviest amount of weight and exhausting the muscle as best you can, and then walking away. So I encourage anybody to look at it. It doesn't feel the same because you're already mind fucked by the, I got to get the muscle pump, I got to feel pumped and all that stuff. But
Just takes
then
longer.
when you realize, you look back 6 weeks later and it's like, and then you go in and you do a DECA scan or you do an in-body scan and you see your body fat go down and your muscle mass go up. And the only thing you changed is you went to that system instead of doing this. And like I said, it's not that what you were doing is not working. It's just, and you can't, when you're in pain, when you put yourself in position, and with static, you're always putting yourself in a position where you're at your most dangerous to get injured because that weight doesn't change. That weight stays, that 40-pound dumbbell is 40 pounds, whether it's above your head or below your head, above your knee or below you. But when you're doing variable resistance, you're getting the maximum lifting power when you're in your safest position to be able to do it. So when you're in your strongest position, you're pushing your maximum amount of weight. When you're in your unsafest position, you're in a minimum amount of weight, but you're still in exhaustion because as you go through the exhaustion of your muscles during those different strength bands, you are still in a more safer area because, of course, you'll exhaust yourself in your strongest band before you'll exhaust yourself in your weakest band. But that exhaustion as you go through those bands is still the same as far as the exhaustion of the muscle till you can't, pick that bar off your chest or pick that bar off the ground. That you can't do with static weights. Can't do it. I mean, that's why you see people add chains and bands to bars and stuff because they try to get that in there, but it's similar.
I mean,
but I always tell people, what do you want to do? If I say to go to the store right now, are you going to walk
something that I want
or
to
you
do.
going to drive?
I know
it's
that
2
we've
miles
talked
away,
about it
or
a few
5 miles
times, and
away.
I'm
You
just
going
like,
to walk? You going to drive?
it's like I want to try it, I want to stick to it, but then I
And that's what I
always
say
just
about walking.
go
It's
back
kind
to
of
the
the same
weights
thing I'm saying.
because
Why would I
that's
walk when I could drive and get
I
there?
feel like that's what I know, right? That's where I feel most comfortable is the weights. But I definitely, I've done the bands with you before, and I'm just like, even though you're like, oh, you didn't go to exhaustion, but yeah, it's like I want so hard to see, do I see a difference in my body, and giving myself a chance to do those bands. Yeah, I know, and it's just like, yeah, well, that's why, yeah, yeah.
Because you don't give yourself a chance. You don't do it long enough. You don't do it long enough. But that's your regimen. That's what you're used to. You got to get out of that. I know what you won't be used to is next week when we had a potpourri of people on the podcast, and we'll probably get into some interesting discussions. That podcast will be a special podcast, be a little bit longer than what we usually do when we bring in our guests.
So
next
please
week.
give us a call at
Also,
Fit and
but I
Trim Weight
do
Loss
know what you're
Clinic.
used
We
to. You're
love to
also
have new
used to
patients coming in. We are
patients coming
always
into
available.
Fit and
I
Trim
want to
Weight
say
Loss Center in
24/7
North Andover.
because
And
I
not
have
only
a
do they come
direct
there, they
line
come
that
back
comes to my
because
cell
they're
phone.
happy
So
with
with
their
any
journey
questions or
and they're
concerns that
happy
you
with what's happening over
guys
there.
may
Why don't you tell us
have,
a little bit about that?
there is a system that is connected to our office that I can answer any calls or questions. Give us a call at 781-977-7546 or www.fat-rx. And that is in North 1060 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts. Please come and see us for your weight loss journey or your M shape for your body contouring and burning fat. So, yes, I'm sorry. With legit scripts. We have legit scripts with our pharmacies as well.
Yes, and All our medications are prescribed by a licensed medical physician. And you get a consultation and you get a visit with the physician before any prescriptions can be made, as legally it's supposed to be. So, yes, we are legit script certified, which means you can trust that when we write a script, it is real. It has gone through the criteria that it should be. And you get to talk to somebody, not just go online and
Well,
fill
my
out all the
parting thoughts
answers and then
are
somebody sends you a box with some drugs
just
in it. You
want
get
to
to talk
wish
to somebody about
everybody
your
a
journey.
happy
You get to talk to
Thanksgiving.
somebody through if
Please
you're
take
having
the
any
time out
difficulties,
to
and they
enjoy
do a
your
great
family
job
and
over
your
there. So
friends.
check them out.
Share
And that
what you
brings
are
us to the
thankful
end of our
for each and every
podcast today.
person that you
Uh,
encounter.
as we have started
And
to do
just
parting
remember these
thoughts,
moments because,
Monique,
as we all
your
know,
parting
tomorrow is
thoughts.
never promised. So happy Thanksgiving. Let them. Let them.
Yeah, look, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Just like the author of the book that I saw, I didn't know who she was until yesterday, Mel Robbins, with the book bestseller. What? Let them. They are let them. And I'm like, well, I was like, what's the big deal about let them? Let them and let me. I'm like, oh, I'm
There's
already
going to
in
be an
that camp.
argument.
Let people be what they want to be. Let me be who I am. So when you're out there and you're with your
Yeah.
family and all that stuff too, let them be who they want to be. Don't not go and visit your family and your friends because you're like, oh, it's the holidays. I don't want to deal with this stuff. I got this crazy uncle, I got the drunk aunt, all those things. Let them be who they are. Let that go. Don't stress yourself out. You can't control that stuff,
I'm
nor do
Monique
you
Jones.
want to. So have a good time. Be you. Let them be them. And I guarantee you, it'll all work out and you'll be stress-free. So that's what I wish for everybody during this holiday season, stress-free, and let them be, because I'm about to be me too, all right? So I'm Jamie Jones, and that is season 1, episode 17, Cock Robin, the show. See you guys.
Holla, holla. Listen to me now.